Nina, clearly a tough run of results at the minute. Just how do we find the Sheffield United Women's squad right now?
It has on paper, but like the last few performances have been so positive. Like obviously I've been involved in them, and the vibe's been really good. Like the spirit in the group's been really good. Training, there's been a real edge to training in terms of competitiveness. Everyone's fighting for their shirt at this point, and I think we're in a really healthy place actually as a squad. But so yeah, on paper it doesn't look great, but that's not the feeling in the squad at all. We've come up against Super League teams, full-time teams, big names. Another one coming up on Sunday, but we look at it as a positive, and we're looking forward to that game on Sunday against Man United. Huge team, but we've actually put in really good performances against Villa and Everton, so I think we feel confident, and yeah, it's positive really.
As well as two of the three top teams in the Championship at the minute, so clearly at the minute the results aren't going, but do you feel you're competing closely enough to suggest that results will change?
Yeah, for sure, and when you look at those results, like they've been really close results as well, which I don't think were particularly reflective of the game anyway. I think we could have probably nicked a point or even a win in some of those games. And we know that they're just details we need to get better at, but they are just details, and it's nothing really that we're panicking about at the moment, because they are just minor details that we just need to fix up on collectively, cut out some individual mistakes, maybe sharpen up at the front a little bit, and that's about it. But as a whole, we're in a good place as a squad.
And clearly as well with the Villa game, you got a number of teenagers involved and whatnot. I mean, brilliant experience for them, but also a great sign for the future of the squad, really. Yeah,
like I said, like the whole squad, all 20, 22 of us, whatever there are, like we're all fighting for a shirt, and at this point, anyone can take those starting places, and that was the message going into those games, that, just take this opportunity. Whether you're 16 or 32, like you got to prove your place in the team at this point. That's how it should be at professional level. That's how every other club, I'm sure, is the same. So yeah, like the youngsters that came on, you look at Mia, you look at Shenny, who have done really well in these games recently. That's a testament to the club, and that's a testament to us as a squad, and we're supporting those players, and we're saying, look, you've done really well, like just keep doing it, and they're taking a lot of responsibility on their shoulders as well, so all credit to all of them. Chaz as well, Charlie Doherty, Molly, who made her debut, like she came on and she was rock solid at the back, like everything just came off her and made big blocks, and that's what we've seen in training over the past kind of year, is that young players can step up into those roles, and they will be supported by players and management to do that. So yeah, like I said, it's positive.
Clearly still very recent, Neil Redfern's resignation. I mean, Luke Turner has taken over in the interim. What's he managed to do with kind of the limited time, I imagine, that you've had under him?
The main message really has just been to believe in the squad that we've already got. We know that coming into this year, last year, previous years, as a squad, personnel-wise, we've got enough quality. So that's been the main message, just to like really not panic, and like as players we had that message anyway, within our own heads of like we've got good enough players, like let's just relax, girls, and really not come in to change huge amounts, because like you said, he hasn't had a lot of time to put his own stamp on it. But what they have done, Luke and Zoe, is like I said, make it competitive and make sure that everyone's on it in training and putting their best effort in, and if you are doing that, you'll get rewarded, and that's been really positive, and it's really, like I said, added a bit of an edge to training, which is only a good thing for the team.
And clearly I imagine the fact that both of them already, that's a great starter for this kind of situation, so they're not coming in cold.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, like, obviously they've both been around the team for the past year, 2 years. They all know us as players. We know them. It's not just a cold slate, and they know the club. They want the best for the club, as we all do as players. And so, yeah, it's been good to. It's been almost like a fresh pair of eyes, but it hasn't. So it's been a good balance of that, in terms of adding a bit of edge, but also keeping that consistency and just being like a calm kind of influence on us as a squad, because it is familiar and that's what you need in a time of change.
As a player, have you had any indication yet on when an announcement might be made on a replacement for Neil?
We don't know yet. Like, I'm sure come January there'll be more news on that. But yeah, we haven't been indicated like what's going to be happening. As far as we're concerned, we're just taking like each game as it comes. So we've got Sunday. We're prepared as a squad, and we're prepared for whatever might happen over the course of Christmas. We've got our plan in place either way, over the Christmas period and over the January period. So we're just looking at those games as players as like, how can we best prepare for them? So we'll just keep taking each game as it comes, really.
I know this will be difficult in a way to answer, but it's a big appointment, isn't it, for the club right now, with the kind of state of the club, the summer that everyone's had, what we've talked about in terms of the progression of the game and everything else. It feels like there's a timing and an opportunity now that if Sheffield United were to get this one right, then things could really keep moving forward. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, Sheffield United is a huge club, men's and women's, so I think it's an exciting opportunity for anyone that does come into the role. To progress us as a club, like we have been challenging in the Championship, and we want to continue to do that. So yeah, for sure, it's a good opportunity for anyone that comes in. I know that as a player, having come in last year, what a big opportunity it is for me to be here, and I'm sure the girls mirror that. So yeah, I think anyone that comes in, they've got a really good opportunity for us to really push on in the Championship, and that's the aim of the club, and that's the aim of us as players.
And I appreciate neither side can progress from this weekend's tie, but just how exciting is it still to be facing Man United away?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said about the Everton and the Villa game, like I want personally to be against those teams every week, and I'm sure a lot of the girls would say the same thing. As a club, that's what we want as well. We want to be facing those sides every week, and we want to get out of this league to do that. So these games, while on paper people might say they don't mean anything, actually, as players, you should be living for these games, and you should be really wanting to challenge yourself against these sides. So we don't really look at it in like an underdog way. We just look at it as, can we do our best, like individually and as a team, to show that actually Sheffield is a force to be reckoned with, and that's what the level we want to be at. So that's how I look at it, and that's how we look at it as a collective.
And clearly Manchester made a big statement last weekend, 44,000 people watching the Manchester derby. I mean, an incredible game, but also an incredible attendance. I mean, as somebody that's been in the women's game for a long time, just seeing that must be heartening.
Yeah, for sure. And you've seen that across the board really this year, which has been great to see, obviously off the back of the Euros. I was at the Euro final, there was like 90,000 people there in Wembley. So I think when I was sat there, that was what my thought was can we translate this into the domestic game in the domestic leagues? And I'm glad that a lot of clubs, especially the bigger clubs, have like, I guess, put their money where their mouth is and put these big games on and these showcase games on. And hopefully we can see that spread out over the course of the season a lot more, whereby it's not just one fixture a season or two fixtures a season. We're trying to get those numbers week in, week out, just like the men's game does. But yeah, it was great to see like another one, like just to add to the list of these big attendances across Europe this season. You look at the Spanish league as well. It's been a few like 90,000 attendances there for Barcelona. So yeah, I like to see it, and I kind of add it to my little tally of people do care about the women's game because the demand's there, and it's not really a question of whether the demand's there anymore. It's just what we're going to do with that demand.
Yeah, and making it sustainable. Yeah, that's the key thing.
Yeah, and like I said, like not just saying, oh, we'll just have one a year. Actually, why not get half of that each week? Yeah. And build up from there. But I'm ambitious, so I'm going to say that. But yeah, it's great to see.
It's the right way to be. Just finally, another Manchester club. I mean, it's an incredible draw in the FA Cup. If you beat Forest to have drawn Manchester City, I mean, what kind of a fillip is that going into that cup tie in the new year? Yeah, again,
I just look at it as a game. Like, a game's a game. But I mirror the same thing about this weekend, that you do look at it as a challenge. Like, personally, if you want to be playing at that level, then you've got to perform at that level. and why not test yourself against those teams? But in terms of like the Man City tie, like obviously we need to get through the next round first. Notts Forest will by no means be like an easy feat. They're a really good side, really challenging in the league below, and they've got a great squad, and they'll be real fired up for that game. So kind of the same thing where we need to just take each game as it comes and not get away ahead of ourselves or anything. But yeah, I'm sure it'll add a bit of an edge to it for both teams, because you should want to play against those huge teams.